Well, the Australian government announced that it would recognise a state of Palestine in September, and Anthony Albanese's triumphant announcement was sullied slightly when he received support from the terrorist organisation Hamas. Co-founder of Hamas, Hassan Youssef, came out and said that he congratulated the Australian government. More countries should follow the Australian lead. That's kind of embarrassing. And so the Prime Minister quickly reminded the media that you shouldn't believe what Hamas say.
And I notice in the statement that's made today, they say that the alleged statement from the person yesterday is someone who's been in prison in Israel since October 2023 and has no means of communication. What that should be is a warning to the media of being very careful about the fact that Hamas will engage in propaganda.
So the Prime Minister knows you've got to be very careful about Hamas engaging in propaganda, which is why the government always quote the Gaza Health Ministry statistics, which of course come from Hamas, why the government never doubt Hamas reports of IDF just randomly shooting civilians, why the Prime Minister himself referred to a famous photo that went round the world of a child clearly suffering a disability that had nothing to do with starvation, but the photo was portrayed as this is a boy being starved by those horrible Israelis. The PM wasn't sceptical of Hamas propaganda then, only now when he's a little embarrassed. But today, Hamas came out and said, no, that statement from Hassan Youssef was not legitimate. And so then the Prime Minister quoted Hamas saying, see, that statement from yesterday was not in fact true. So he warns against Hamas propaganda when it suits, but he quotes Hamas propaganda when it helps his narrative. You can't have it both ways.
Well, it gets even more awkward than that, because then later today, two Hamas officials actually did say that they supported Australia's position and that we have great courage as a country and everyone should follow us. But, I mean, this whole thing is stupid because of course Hamas would support Australia recognising a Palestinian state. This is a core aim of Hamas. Anything to undermine Israel and Israel's legitimacy, anything to vindicate what they did on October 7 for them is a win. So I'm honestly shocked. Whoever was advising Albanese to even enter into this fight was so misguided. But, I mean, it's just embarrassing. And I wish his scepticism for Hamas propaganda had been here for the last 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it ironic that Anthony Albanese is now telling us to be very careful what's coming out of Hamas? But let's not forget, he's the one that's put us into this position by prematurely recognising a Palestinian state. And you just look at, this is such a huge shift in Australian foreign policy, where we used to stand side by side with a liberal democracy who was under siege. And then we have completely flipped that and let them go. And we have now been siding more so with a terrorist organisation.
And by his own explanation, part of the reason we have flipped was because of those images of the supposedly starving kids in Gaza that were then proven to be false.
Oh, but the PM's corrected the record on that, has it? Oh, no, he hasn't.
No. Oh, no, he hasn't. He hasn't corrected the record on any of the propaganda he's believed.